song that I wrote about an 18-year-old kid I met on an airplane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he told me right off the bat that he had never flown before. He asked if I would pull up the window shade so he could watch the takeoff, and then he told me he had never flown, and I could tell he was really nervous about it. So I started asking him questions just to try and break the ice, and that's when I found out he was 18, and I asked him where he was going. He said Chicago, and I asked if he had been there before. You know, he could have driven or taken a train, I guess. But he said no. He had never left Florida. And not only that, but he had never actually left his home city, Miami. Which I thought was pretty interesting. That he's 18 years old, just leaving his home city for the first time, and he's flying all the way to Chicago. So I asked him why he was flying all that way today. And he smiled really big, and he sat up really straight, and he said, "I'm flying to Chicago to get married." What? I know, my answer was somewhere in that range. Also, my reaction, but I had to sort of keep it inside because he was sitting right in front of me, and I think I did a great job. I said, "Wow! Congratulations! Please tell me everything about yourself." So we talked the whole flight, and he turned out to be an incredible young guy. He had a really rough upbringing. He was the youngest of 7 boys, and their parents left when he was like a baby, basically. And they grew up in foster care, sometimes with their grandmother, but mostly just bouncing between foster families. Wow. And he said that by the time he got to high school, as the youngest of this big kind of wild pack of 7 boys that were all wards of the state, that no one was paying super close attention to what he was up to. And he was kind of up to no good. And he was spending a lot of time on the streets, and he was hanging out with a sort of dangerous crowd. And he said he felt his life kind of teetering out of control, but he just didn't know how to fix it. He didn't know what to do. He was only 14, you know? And so one day he was in high school, and he went to class, and he met this young woman. And his whole face just lit up when he talked about her. She was kind and brilliant and funny and beautiful. And they hit it off. They fell in love. They dated all through high school. And when she graduated, she was moving on to go to college in Chicago. And she promised him that if he graduated, he could fly up to Chicago and they would get married. So it had taken him a little extra time to get through school because he had a rough start, you know, but he was very motivated. And I met him the week he graduated. And he was on the first flight he could catch up to Chicago. And even though they hadn't seen each other for 10 months since she graduated, he assured me the romance was strong. They talked on the phone every night. And she was going to pick him up that day at the airport at noon, and they were going to go straight from Midway Airport to City Hall. And he was going to be married by the end of the day. And the plan was to spend the weekend in Chicago with his new bride, and then he had to be back on a plane and back in Miami by Tuesday, because he had not gotten his afternoon shift at Chi-Chi's covered. And he really needed that job. So by the end of the flight, I was pretty much in love with this guy. He was amazing. But obviously already spoken for.
Too young.
So I left him alone. You know, it was his wedding day, after all. It seemed like the decent thing to do. But I couldn't stop thinking about him. And I went home and I wrote this song for him. This is called The Chicago Kid. Well, I was born in South Florida, left there to die. I spent 18 long years in the weeds. I found it hard to believe it, even changing of ceilings, the leaves only turned on TV. And now I'll fly if I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, going, gone. I showed her the stoplight my daddy must have fixed right before he left, a whisper in the wind. She kissed me like a church bell, Lord. She loved me like an antbell, and I haven't had her out of my mind since. And so my grandma told me that I've got his body, and I don't think she meant it unkind. But I'll keep punching these time cards and been studying the fine art of working my way up in that girl's mind. And now I'll fly if I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, going, gone. And one, if by land, they say. Two, if by sea. Three, little words made a bird out of me. Well, I was born in South Florida, left this July. 18 years served me just fine. So tell the boss I'm off to marry a sweet daughter of the prairie and a kiss it where the sun'll never shine. And now I'll fly 'cause I have to, though I would swim twice as long to be the one she'll press her back to. I am Chicago, going, gone. Hey, I was born in South Florida, let me die in her arms. I'm Chicago, going, gone.
Not a clue. He has no idea.
You know, it was so long ago now that I met that guy. It was before I had an iPhone.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pre-Facebook iPhone.
Oh, wow.
So, having that out, that song came out on a record that was released in 2020.